Hi there, fearless women. I am so happy to be able to share my story with you today, and I hope that maybe if there's some of you listening to this who have been a little bit scared about taking that next step and getting through a difficult situation, that this might help inspire you to go on and do that and make the most of your life. So my story begins about 8 years ago, and to say that I was struggling as a first-time mum and a businesswoman is an absolute understatement. I spent most of my days crying, and that's the honest to goodness truth. If it wasn't for my mum, I don't know how I would have gotten through it all. My daughter would wake up to 6 times during a night, and it got to a point where we ended up in a state-run sleep clinic. It was the hardest thing that I have absolutely ever done, but it worked, and it reduced her nighttime wakings down to 2. I know some of you probably think 2 is still too much, but trust me, when you're waking up 6 times a night, 2 is absolutely a heavenly bliss. So anyway, with her issues sorted out, it meant that I had a lot more energy and I was ready for the mental challenge. So I decided I would lunge headlong back into my career and work 3 days a week. So that's exactly what I did. However, I hadn't considered the pressure that I would be under. I hadn't considered what it actually meant to be a mom and to be a career woman. Hadn't thought about the fact that I'd be rushing to drop her off at daycare in the morning so that I could get to work in a reasonable time. And then I'd spend oodles of hours solving complex corporate problems to then have to rush back, pick my daughter up from daycare, get her home, and go through the whole nighttime ritual. You know how crazy that can be? The whole cooking dinner, the bathing, getting them off to bed, and trying to wind down yourself after the end of the day. So though, whilst my brain was engaged, I wasn't getting any me time. And you know, the words of advice of a maternity ward started ringing through my head. And she had said to me that, you know, you should give yourself at least 30 minutes a day of time to yourself. She goes, even if that means just having a shower. So, that sounds, simple if you consider a shower. However, in my case, my daughter would somehow always know when I was in the shower. And I tell you what, having a shower was torture for me because all I could hear was her screaming and crying in the background because she wanted mum. So, as you can imagine, I really started to get worn down and cracks started to show on my veneer. So I realized at that point that I needed to live fearlessly. Yes, I no longer wanted to live in this state of overwhelm, but I couldn't see the forest for the trees. And that's when I had an epiphany. I realized that I was sitting on a whole wealth of information. I was a kick-ass project manager, delivering amazing projects within time, under budget, and meeting all customer requirements and quality requirements. So surely if I could master my professional life, I should be able to bring over those skills into my personal life. So that's what I did. I decided to make myself a priority and give myself some time out, because I realized that if I didn't, I wouldn't be able to care for my daughter and do the myriad of things that I wanted to do. So my health improved and I wasn't getting sick at the drop of a hat, and my patience for the spice of life things that were thrown at me and continue to be thrown at me is all good now. And I'm confident in juggling my business, career, my home life, my family life. And I strongly believe that that's what every woman deserves. You know, no woman deserves to be feeling overwhelmed. And it is such a common situation, you know, especially as a mother, particularly because you've got that extra element that you need to juggle. You know, we're all students of life. You know, we're constantly learning and evolving, and we need to be. We really need to be. Because you know what? Life, you know, it just goes on. And if we don't keep moving on with it, we get left behind. So you always want to be doing your best. And I'm always constantly adding to my toolbox of things to help me master me time. When you look at the physical, emotional and financial costs of not taking time out for yourself, they far outweigh the time that it takes to master your time. Okay, becoming a me time master, it doesn't really take that long and it's pretty simple. The thing that keeps me motivated is knowing that I can transform the quality of my life and other people's lives by empowering them to make positive change. And it's just, there's so many simple things that we can do to make such a huge difference in our lives. And it's just a matter of lifting up that curtain and finding out and discovering what these things are. And there's so many great tools and techniques out there that you can use to better manage your time and to find time for yourself. My number one mantra is that there's no such thing as failure, only feedback. So, you know, it's always an opportunity to continue to refine yourself, and you should always keep doing that. My number one tip for anyone would be that life is too short to live with regret. So take every opportunity that you can to work towards your dream, no matter how small and insignificant it might seem to you. Because the interesting thing that starts to happen when you start to take action and you take that small step is that the other steps that you need to take will start to appear before your very eyes. It's quite magical, really. So I strongly urge you today to take one little step, as insignificant and small as it might seem to you. Just take that little step today. Take one little action towards your dream and making your life a better life. Here's to powering up your dreams. Over and out.